On the couch with Koel. Score of 9 out of 9 at the age of 14. Youngest Indian to win the first international masters title at the age of 15. Known as the Blitz Kid. Winner of various awards from Padma Vibhushan to Arjuna Award to the Booker by the Chess Federation in Britain. He has also criticized the media for being biased to cricket. If you haven't guessed who I'm talking about, it is the Grandmaster of Chess, Viswanathan Anand. Viswanathan Anand, Vishi, thank you very much for being on my couch today.
Thank you.
And of course, this is an ode to you, so please appreciate.
I like the contrast.
It's all about
contrast. Coach, red coach, and that.
Yeah, and the black and white. I wanted to know, what's your favorite piece on the chessboard? Is it the pawn, queen, king, and why?
If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the knight.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's the only one that can jump, so that's kind of unusual.
Now, you are a 40-year-old reigning world champion. How has your game over the years, and especially now, changed from the Lightning Kid?
You keep evolving. I mean, the nature of chess changes very fast. The way we study the game changes, so you also have to adapt to that. But I think fundamentally it remains the same. I'm someone who likes to play fast, play intuitively. I like to guess a lot. I don't like to work out every problem to the end. Sometimes I'll just say, this feels right. So that's kind of what I am.
I'm quite surprised to hear about sledging in chess, and all these mind games that go on. But so what is the worst that's happened to you, for instance?
Generally, people try to knock you. The thing is to say that you're, with me at least, the thing to say is he's a superficial player.
And where is it said? In the media and you hear about it, or it's said while you're playing?
No, of course not while we're playing.
It's all very...
But for instance, once the 10th game of our match, Kasparov started slamming the door after every move. So we played in a small room. Due to fire regulations, we had to play in a small room. And then the players' waiting rooms were outside. But every time he would go out, he'd slam the door violently. It would shake a bit. And
is he allowed to do that? Like just walk out and...
Well, I could have protested. I made the mistake then. I'm not doing so. But looking back, I would now protest even if... but I figured I was very practical. I thought the position's pretty bad, so what's the point protesting? I'm not going to get the point back. But
you just look like a sour loser. Or
exactly.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's important to draw a line somewhere.
So what's the kind of mind game that you have played?
The main thing I try to do is to block everyone out. So I'm not really focusing on winding up my opponents because I find it doesn't help me. In fact, I'm quite close to many people that before the match, for instance, Kramnik and me, we had some we weren't insulting each other or anything, but take a few digs at each other, poke some fun, that sort of stuff, and then afterwards you get back to being good friends. You understand that during a match, your emotions get a bit high, and that's simply part of it. And once it's over, you just get back to being normal.
Kasparov and you had a rivalry which was legendary for years, and then suddenly he comes out and supports you in the Topolov match. What was that about?
It was interesting. A lot of people, there's a Dutch boy, there's called Giri, there's a Norwegian, Magnus Carlsen.
Who's number one at the moment.
Number one in the world. Kramnik, who is played a match with me, lost, and still volunteered to help me. And Kasparov, I don't know, I would guess it's somewhere between they liked me and they disliked my opponent. And they decided to chip in. But I simply thought, well, it's a very friendly gesture. What's for me to do? I'll just accept it.
So when did you know that chess was going to be your life? Because I know you've been playing since like age 6 with your mother.
I would say I got into it at 6 and I never really saw a reason to stop. I mean, generally you do something like this, your favorite sport or some passion of yours, and you're very passionate about it, you really love it. But at some point you may come to the decision that you may not want to do it for a living all your life, but you'll approach it a different way, or perhaps you can't make a living out of it. Or you may not like something attached to it, like the travel. And I never had one of those moments.
You've never got bored with it and sort of gone, even in your, because you've had rock bottom moments and you've had moments where things haven't gone well for you and now you're back on top. But have you never thought, okay, I'm just going to give it up and run a hotel or do something completely diametrically opposite to chess?
That's very difficult because a chess lifestyle can spoil you a lot. I mean, you get up when you want. You're pretty much your own boss. I mean, you deal with people, but it's not like you're working in a project together and they have to tell you what to do and you have to tell them what to do. you've become very fiercely independent with your time and your way of doing things. I mean, it's not like it's all fun and games. I do have to work very hard, but I can pick my hours. I can set thing. And if you get used to never having a boss, it's very difficult to do something else. So if I do decide one day to do something else, I'll have to work on it a bit. Now, have I gotten bored with chess? Very often.
Really?
Yeah, sure. You get anytime you put in that. After a while, when you get bored with chess, you don't play inspired. You tend to make obvious decisions. You don't put a lot of energy and intensity into every move. But it's never lasted more than 4 or 5 months.
And you say you're your own boss and you can sort of, be the ruler of your own dates, etc. And also, you're very rich because chess is a well-paid game. So you make a hell of a lot of money playing chess at the level that you play at. What do you do? What does a simple guy like you do with that money?
Well, we do okay. And
you do okay? You're a millionaire, billionaire, if I'm not wrong. How much are you worth?
Well, I'm not going to tell you, but so it varies a lot. But it's pretty much like other sports.
Do you think that chess needs a makeover to make it more maybe glamorous? It's a very niche cult spectator sport.
I wouldn't call it a cult. It's an interesting term. I would call it people who know the rules. You see, in order to appreciate chess, you need to understand the rules
and manipulate.
You don't need to be very, very good at chess to enjoy a game of chess, but you do need to know how the pieces are moving. But that's clearly the problem for chess, or maybe the solution. You have to get more and more people. You have to teach people the game. That's one of the things I'm trying to do. I have a huge chess in schools project called the NIT Mind Champions Academy. And this year we will cross 1 million students who played 20 games on us.
Okay, coming on to something which was not so pleasant. Here you are, who plays with the Indian flag always beside you. I have to ask this. You play with the Indian flag. Every time you win, the national anthem plays. You are one of our greatest sporting legends. And yet, the ministry questions your citizenship when a private institution wants to honor you. I mean, it really makes no sense. Is this what we get when politics is running sports in our country?
I think what happened is simply somebody posed the question, well, is he Spanish or is he Indian? Because, well, he read that I live in Spain and so on. And of course, the answer is I always had an Indian passport, but I had the right to live in Spain, and that's it. And then someone wasn't satisfied, didn't get around to think. I don't know exactly what happened.
Either way, it's none of their business.
Perhaps, but nonetheless, I see it as something as a bureaucracy thing rather than something else. I mean, my own attitude is pretty much, well, it doesn't really matter. It's a shame it happened, but it doesn't matter.
Do you think you're a champion today because of India? Because of the government's help of any reason? Don't be diplomatic about this.
No, I'm not. But no, definitely the government did help a lot. I mean, in the early days, you got support for traveling. But I think where it becomes tricky is when there's too much officialdom. Because sports, again, it has to be about the joy of sport. And you can't be dealing with... in fact, that's one of the things we're trying to do now with the Olympic Gold Quest. What we'll try to do is to eliminate a lot of the hassle for the sports people so that they can focus on winning an Olympic gold. We'll see how successful we are.
Now, at the moment, you're ranked number 3. That, of course, can change very quickly. Why do you think you've lost your number 1 position? How are you going to get it back?
Well, I think Magnus Carlsen, this Norwegian, actually played
who's all of 20 years old. I
exactly.
mean, it's like...
He has played so well that his ranking has kept going up. My tournament performances didn't really keep up with Magnus. So I sunk a bit. Also, I've not played enough tournaments that would be rated in this period, whereas he has played far more. However, now in the next 4 months, I'm going to play a lot of top chess.
Oh, so the number 1 position is still very much in your
Yes, I really
sight.
hope, I will try to do better and increase my rating. Instead of focusing on a specific target, but obviously if you do well, then your ranking will go up.
On my couch, I have the Grandmaster of Chess, Viswanathan Anand, but before that, we're going to show you something that you can help with. Here's Couch Chess.
Just imagine, you've been grievously injured in an accident and you have no family or friends to look after you. Here is Santosh, who loves eggs and biscuits. He's desperate to go home, but is confused about where he actually comes from.
हम नंदी गाँव के आने भाई मेरे को याद नहीं
Number?
नहीं वो भी किसके पास भी नहीं फोन नंबर।
कोई आपके परिवार वाले
अभी तक नहीं आए हैं। हाँ, कोई जाने का है।
वो आ जाएंगे अगर हम बुलाएंगे।
पता नहीं चोटें लगी हो या अब आते हैं कि नहीं, देखो मेरे।
Others who can remember have been abandoned by their families because they don't want to take on the burden of a sick person.
बुलाए थे मैम उनको, लेकिन वो आई नहीं। कुछ प्रॉब्लम है घर की। मैंने देखा था उनको आते हुए।
किनको?
अपनी बहन को और पति को। तो उन्होंने मार दिया था, फिर मुझे होश नहीं रहा।
किस चीज पे आते हुए?
कार पे।
There is absolutely no setup for rehabilitation of the injured patients, and there is no government backing or any kind of incentive to have a rehabilitation center in place.
Sahib Rao Pagare is from Shirur village in Dhulia district in Maharashtra. He came to Delhi with some friends and he had an accident. The police brought him to hospital and no one in his family has been informed because he's illiterate and he doesn't know his address or his phone number. आपको अपना घर का पता है?
नहीं ना, नंबर नहीं है, पता नहीं ना आपने को।
आपके बेटी का नाम क्या है?
बेटी के नाम आशा भाई यारंदा पंडित।
There are many destitute cases where injured or sick people have either been abandoned or can't remember where they come from. We plan to open a rehabilitation center for them where they can be well looked after. For this, we require funds, land, space, or anything else you think can help. You can make a difference. Please write in or draw your checks and demand drafts in favor of Care Today Couch Cares Fund and send it to 9th floor Videocon Towers, E1 Chandewala Extension, New Delhi 55. All contributions are tax exempt. Please specify the money is for accident victims.
Okay, so you've heard the case. Please donate and donate generously. This will make a difference.
Well, actually, you have donated your gold medal. What was that for? This is the gold medal from 2008, right? Yeah.
Well, this was for Rahul Bose. He has an NGO. They want to build a school. Well, I thought it was a very nice project. So I was happy to donate my gold medal.
Okay, I'm analyzing you and your personal life now. Now, in Bollywood, we have this phrase, you know, where everything is ask mummy. And a lot of the research that I did on you, a lot of the quotes in the articles were straight from the quotes from your wife, Aruna, not from you. Is it a lot of like ask wifey?
No, not really. I think she knows a lot about what I feel on many issues. But I didn't realize such a high percentage was attributed to her. But
so
I think in general, she's very good at communicating chess. She's a good bridge in that sense between the chess world and not.
Do you think that it's very important to have that kind of support? Because it seemed like your mother Sushila was that support before Aruna came into your life. Is that true? That these two women are like the wind beneath your wings?
Definitely.
So
I mean, I learned chess from my mother at 6. And then she used to travel with me for many years. And actually, it's a nice story. In the Philippines, there used to be a program on TV about chess. But it was when I was in school. So she would write down everything, the whole program. And then when I came back, we'd play over all the stuff that we had done together, that the program had done. And we'd even solve puzzles. They used to have a puzzle at the end which we could solve. So in the end, I solved so many puzzles that they told me to stop competing.
Because you were winning all the prizes.
Yeah, I was getting the right answer quite often. So and the same thing with Aruna. When we got married, she didn't know anything about chess, but she's very supportive. Or she's begun to understand, you know, how chess players are, what makes them tick, when they get annoyed, when they don't, and she tries to arrange things so it's a conducive atmosphere for me to play well.
And you had an arranged marriage with her. This was not a love marriage, but are you in love now?
I think I was in love then. It's just, but you're right. Our parents introduced us. So.
Did you not have any girlfriends before that? My God, I made him blush.
Well, no.
He had to think about this one, so obviously you did. Ones that you don't want to talk about.
I mean, I've had friends, but it's not like anything serious. And then this is, one day my parents said, well, we're going to take you to meet someone, and boom.
And that was it, the first person you met, and that was the person you were going to marry?
Pretty much.
What was it about Aruna that made you go, okay, like you said, I was in love with her then. What was it about her?
She laughed a lot. And she generally seemed very happy.
And you're so shy about this now. This is it's rather becoming. Now, there's another thing that you love. You love traveling, and you do end up traveling with your partner, Aruna, a lot. But there's a strange quote that I have read, because I love traveling too, but you've said, the love for travel is fueled by the desire to be cut off from the world. I mean, most people travel to be connected with the world. Is there something that, and there's another quote where your favorite place is Atacama Desert in Chile because it's one of the most inhospitable places in the world. And again, you've said it's because it gave you an immense sense of solitude. Is there something that you're running away from?
I think it becomes more and more difficult to travel to somewhere unique. So you really enjoy the unique spots more and more. Generally, if you travel, you expect to see something new, but the airports look the same, the shops are the same, it's the same brands, whereas you can travel to many countries and it all looks the same. So that is something I appreciate.
I have a few tweets that people want answered. Trust Me Vivek wants to know that according to you, which is the biggest event in the sporting world? Is it Olympics or Football World Cup?
For me, it's the Football World Cup.
Why?
Well, in the Olympics, there's a lot of stuff going on. Whereas in football, I think, you get a lot of interesting matches. I find that has more buzz.
Okay, and Avinash Wiz wants to know, what should I do to have a brain like his?
Well, I think Avinash should just have a brain like his. I don't think... I think the thing is, you find something that sort of fascinates you and then you try to get good at it.
Okay, now we're going to play the promised game that I told you, and you can analyze me at the end of it. It's called Couch Confession, and you have to answer without thinking. That might be very hard for you, okay? It's the opposite of what you do.
Couch Confession.
Success is?
Getting good results and being happy.
What's a pickup line that has worked for you?
Well, I mean, when your parents introduce you, what do you do with a pickup line?
You must have used a pickup line at some point in your life, right?
No, not really.
Okay, then forget this game. I want to know what you do for romance. You have had romance in your life. Aruna talks about you being a romantic guy.
I think she finds romance in... well, let's say I amuse her when I try, but that's probably it.
You're not trying hard enough. What is this?
I mean,
Come on.
well, you should ask her. I can't...
Okay, your idea of romance is... ...
Just hanging out with her somewhere when we're both laughing.
Okay. First word that comes to mind when I say Gary Kasparov.
Opponent?
Magnus Carlsen.
Prodigy?
Topalov.
Bulgarian?
Mikhail Tal Chess Club in Chennai.
Oh, home.
Is that where your love for chess began?
Definitely. I mean, I've spent so many hours there.
Kalmadi.
Well, Olympic Association.
Ooh, nice one out. What is the most ridiculous advice that you've ever got?
Well, some people will come up with some diet techniques they say will work wonders for you and so on.
Okay, what is the most game-changing advice that you've ever got?
I think before game 10, for instance, my trainer told me to just start playing fast and stop thinking. And this was very helpful.
This is advice to a lightning kid.
Yeah, but...
How can you play faster than
well,
that?
but in the game, in the first 9 games, I had started to play very slowly. And he said, just go there and loosen up a bit. So.
Have you ever been mistaken for another celebrity?
No, but people have asked me, are you a celebrity? It's very difficult to answer this question.
What do you say to that?
Well, they say, you look familiar. Are you famous? Usually I can't come up with a good witty retort to that one.
Log on to headlinestoday.in or follow my tweets at Koel's Couch. To remind you, please draw your checks and demand drafts in favor of Care Today Couch Cares Fund. On the Couch with Koel.